Good Wednesday afternoon. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Kent Erdahl. Just in this afternoon, 2 people are in custody connected to a deadly shooting in April where bullets passed through an SUV, nearly hitting a toddler. Right now, Victor and Jose Rodriguez are facing second-degree murder charges. According to court documents, both were arrested on Sunday. The shooting happened near Cedar Avenue South and South 17th Avenue. A third person involved, Rafael Rodriguez, is charged as an accomplice. He's set to go to trial next month. Now to our top story. A busy travel week for Minnesota's MEA break is here, and airport leaders say they're ready despite the government shutdown. Right now, just 11 flights in and out of MSP are delayed, despite some federal workers working without a paycheck right now. The airport expects to run 50,000 people through TSA checkpoints today. It will stay at least that busy through Friday. The airport spokesperson says if their passenger forecast holds up, this MEA weekend could be in the top 10 busiest days MSP has seen since the pandemic. And because of that, you'll notice more workers in bottlenecked areas to help people get through faster.
We're continually sharing information about passenger loads, about the times that we expect a lot of people to come in the front door to go through the checkpoints so that everybody's on the same page. It's like a pipeline that goes back and forth leading up. It could be weeks out, and then it gets updated as we get new information.
We're told one new thing passengers may notice at the airport: faster internet. MSP has rolled out 5G throughout all of Terminal 1 and much of Terminal 2. Meantime, the Senate today is expected to vote for the 9th time on a short-term funding bill that would end the government shutdown. That same bill was rejected last night, and there's still no sign of a deal that would change that. Republicans need at least 5 Democrats to get there, but there's no sign that will happen without negotiating an extension of Affordable Care Act tax credits. As the fragile ceasefire in Gaza between Israel and Hamas continues, the Israeli government is threatening to limit badly needed aid to Gaza after accusing Hamas of failing to keep its promise to return the bodies of deceased hostages. NBC's Matt Bradley has the latest from Tel Aviv.
Well, it's been 2 days since the Israelis here received 20 living hostages from the Gaza Strip, and this whole country is still high on the joy that came from that historic moment. There are only 4 dead hostages whose remains have been transferred into Israel. One of them, according to the Israelis, doesn't match the identity of any of the hostages. There's been a lot of anger now, rising and rising over the past 2 days, of Hamas's delays in returning all 28 dead hostages that they had been holding. Now, this has raised a lot of anger, even at the level of high officials who are threatening and actually went through with some plans to suspend aid deliveries to the Gaza Strip as punishment. This is more like sanctions than a return to the actual fighting. But this has happened before. We've seen this in the past where some of the dead hostages that Hamas has turned over turned out not to match the identities that they said they would. And back in February, when this happened the last time, it caused a lot of anger and a lot of tension, but it didn't scuttle the ceasefire. So it's unlikely to do so now, especially if Hamas tries to act in good faith. The fact is that negotiators knew that Hamas was going to have trouble recovering a lot of these bodies. That was well known to everybody, and there was even plans to try to get international experts to go and help Hamas exhume some of these bodies. So for now, despite the continuing violence and shootings that we've been seeing in the Gaza Strip by the Israeli Defense Forces, despite a lot of the internecine fighting between Hamas and clans who are opposed to them, who Hamas accuses of being collaborators with Israel, it looks as though this ceasefire is holding, but only just. Matt Bradley, NBC News, Tel Aviv.
New today, the U.S. Treasury Secretary insists the U.S. will not be controlled by China. Secretary Scott Bessent's comments came after China's surprise announcement of new limits on rare earth minerals and certain technologies. Bessent also said he believes China will back down after a face-to-face meeting with President Trump, which he expects to happen later this month.
Make no mistake, this is China versus the world. They have put these unacceptable export controls on the entire world. China is a command and control economy, and we and our allies will neither be commanded nor controlled.
Right now, industries back here at home are still sorting out the impact of President Trump's new tariffs on imported lumber, which have been in effect for about 2 days now. They're aimed at boosting U.S. timber production. They include a 10% tariff on all timber and lumber imports and a 25% tariff on cabinets and furniture. Some people are praising the move, saying it will encourage more domestic manufacturing. Critics argue it will raise the price of building a home. Jennifer Hoff breaks it down.
No matter the weather, work at Lyman Lumber presses on, even as construction slows due to the changing season and other factors, from high interest rates, labor shortages, and rising costs.
Yeah, the prices just keep going up.
Housing First Minnesota's Nick Erickson says will go up more from President Trump's newest round of tariffs.
At the end of the day, the new home buyers are the ones who are going to pay the tariffs.
The tariffs on lumber, kitchen cabinets, and upholstered furniture taking effect Tuesday. But Erickson says builders were ready, staving off some sticker shock by stocking up supply early.
There's concerns that it's going to come, but the question is, when will that price impact be felt by the consumer? And that's to be determined at this point.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics says furniture cost nearly 5% more since August of 2024. But the leader of the U.S. Lumber Coalition, Zoltan Van Heineken, says lumber makes up just 2% of the total cost to build a new house.
We really applaud it.
Saying tariffs coupled with enforcing trade laws strengthens supply chains and encourages more local wood mills, arguing Canada has an excess lumber supply it sells below market price.
They are desperately trying to hold on to market share. They're trying to increase their market share. And they're worried that U.S. producers will make more lumber and basically push them out of the market.
And yet that work continues. But some people are now asking, at what cost?
No matter the effects in the short term, Trump has said he's already doubling some tariffs in less than 3 months. By January 1st, tariffs on cabinets will jump to 50% and upholstered furniture to 30%. Developing right now, 3 people are in the hospital, one of them fighting for their life after their vehicles hit a moving train in northeast Minneapolis early this morning. It happened around 2:30 this morning at Columbia Parkway and Central Avenue Northeast. Police say a Toyota RAV4 slammed into an Escalade waiting near the train tracks, pushing both into the moving train. The roadway reopened around 6:30 this morning. The crash is under investigation. Right now, the state's oldest autism resource, serving thousands of Minnesotans each year, is in jeopardy of suspending essential programs or even closing its doors. Tonight, Heidi explains how the Autism Society of Minnesota got here and what it needs to survive.
For more than half a century, the state's autism community has looked to the Autism Society of Minnesota, or AWESOME, as a resource.
Predominantly, our work is in supporting autistic people and their families as they either learn to navigate their diagnosis or seek supports for various stages of their lives. Secondly, the Autism Society of Minnesota tries really hard to make Minnesota the absolute best place for autistic people to live.
Executive Director Ellie Wilson says they do that through all types of services used each year by more than 14,000 Minnesotans.
Not surprisingly, as the tone around autism has changed and as we've seen many public institutions destabilized, the Autism Society of Minnesota has experienced an incredibly nasty lurch in the funding that supports our work.
Some of that has to do with grants that have gone away, also because of changes to Medicaid. AWESOME has also seen employers turn away from diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives.
The total implication of the amounts changing drastically in 25 are to the tune of $500,000, which comprises more than 20% of our annual operating budget.
AWESOME has now launched a campaign to help them reach their goal of raising $500,000.
What could happen if you aren't able to raise these funds by the end of the year?
Our number one concern is that our very, very popular and critical programs could come to an end.
Those programs include mental health services with wait lists already double capacity. It also includes education and training, camps and social programs, and advocacy. Awesome risks having to close its doors altogether.
We have been contacted by families whose autistic teenagers hear people talking about them on the news like a tragedy and are saying, I am not so sure that this country wants me here. I'm not so sure that this country wants me to be alive. And those are the sort of things that not only break our hearts, but resolve us to fight for the mission of this organization. This community needs a voice, and we need to fight to keep it.
Awesome launched its campaign at the beginning of this month with the goal to raise $500,000 by the end of this year. We have more information at kare11.com. Stick with us. More news and weather's coming up after the break.